Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. How we doing, everybody? Obviously, you can't talk back to us, but you can comment and we can see it. Luckily, I have eagle-eye vision, so I can see the computer from here.
I do not. I need glasses.
I
do not. I cannot.
So as we wait for some people to show up, say hello.
Hello.
We got Chris and Rose saying hey.
Don't know someone named Chris Rose.
No, it's two different people.
Chris Rhodes.
But yeah, we're gonna answer some of your questions, and kind of to kick this thing off, this is something that we're actually going to do monthly in 2019, because as we'll talk about a little bit later, there's a lot of content that we're releasing in the next year, and we want 2019 to be an ongoing conversation about what God is teaching us and what it means to worship Him in every season. And so we figured that a live forum like this would be something really beneficial for all of us.
And forgive me, I'm getting over a cold.
And Bill, you just listened to Higher today. Thank you for listening. All right, well, as more people come in, we're going to start answering some questions. We have some that were pre-submitted through our Patreon. If you're a Patreon user or supporter and you're on here,
Thank you.
we're so grateful for you. They had some questions that they submitted, and so we're going to answer some of those, but we'll have time for some more questions at the end, so feel free to leave a question and we'd love to answer it. So here we go. If you don't know us, my name's Emily.
Jeff. J. Hams.
Also known as Johnny. But first question. This question comes from Devin, and he wanted to know, what is one of the most impactful moments you've had while being on the road? This was a hard one. We started to talk about these a little bit.
I think for me, the first one that came to mind was actually one we did like years ago. We played this this event that there was probably like, I don't know, it was in Central California, and there was probably like 15 people there. And it was kind of an acoustic set that we did.
Including us, 15 people.
Yeah.
We played a couple of those. And I guess as an artist, when you go into an event like that, it can be kind of discouraging when there aren't that many people there, or, you know, sometimes we're told that there will be a certain amount of people and then it's not the case. But that night was so special and so impactful. It just felt free. And I remember this moment where we were leading worship for, had to be over an hour straight.
I think it was 2 hours worth.
It was a long time.
Yeah, maybe 2 hours. And we just didn't want it to end. It was like nobody in the room could leave for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was dead quiet after one of the songs we played, and someone just said, that's the presence of God, that feeling of not wanting to leave, just wanting to stay in it as long as you can. And that was I think that for me, that was the first time I had felt tangibly that kind of peace that can come with, I guess, enjoying the presence of God.
Yeah.
That was kind of a memory that came to my mind, and was really impactful. I think especially early on to have that, and then to be ready for those kind of moments and those venues as the longer that we keep doing this.
Something else that's been really impactful, if you didn't know, we all started at Biola University. We were a chapel band, and on 2 different occasions, specifically, we've been able to return to Biola and play like their big semester conference. And we've done missions conference once and Torrey conference. And to be able to come back almost 10 years later, where we were once students, and realize now we're leading this event and we're leading our own songs and students know them, and just having this crazy time warp moment just of seeing where God has brought us. Those full circle moments are always really special to us, especially because while we were at Biola, like this was never what we intended to be doing. And so to see how God had other plans and all he was asking us was just to trust him along the way, has resulted in some really cool moments.
I feel like those two for me are like exactly the first two things that popped in my head.
We
So I
all
agree.
think the same. Let's see, then Johnny, let me give
We
you
all
one.
think the same.
Nice.
Together. Laughing at my own joke.
Okay, this question comes from
dumb.
Kayla. She wants to know, you've traveled all over. What are the most prominent strongholds you see people dealing with?
I think for me a big one is anxiety.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this question, and I think that's probably the most prevalent one that we have conversations with people about.
And pray.
And pray for them.
Mhm.
And I think some of it has to do with our song Bigger Than. And Emily, will usually take the opportunity to explain our personal story and specific to hers behind that song. And I think the opportunity to be vulnerable from stage and talk about our lives ends up being very rewarding for us, reminding us why we do this. And I think anxiety is definitely been like, I guess, a hot topic in culture over the last few years, and people speaking out about it and dealing with it. And so it's been exciting for me to share that song and to watch God use Emily's story as a way to impact people and give people peace as they learn to trust in God.
That was a great question, Kayla. Chris says, I helped you guys set up in Medford earlier this year on the Future Tour, I'm assuming, because that's the only time we've been in Medford.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, we're grateful for you. We always
that
need
was
people.
the small stage, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it was downtown.
That's right.
Eric wants to know, have you guys ever considered dropping a Christmas album? And then he said, O Come Emmanuel featuring Emily is so good, which is very kind. If you don't know, Neon Feather, who's on our label, he is an EM artist. Is that what you'd call him, right?
He's a DJ.
He's a DJ. He released a couple Christmas songs, and he was so kind and asked me to sing on one of them. It's not musically a For All Seasons song, so if you listen to it, you will be surprised. But it was really kind of him to ask me to sing on it. But we've always thought about releasing Christmas music, and it's just always too late.
Timing is hard with that.
It's like December 1st, and we're like, Christmas music. But you really have to record Christmas music like in July or August.
And we really only play those songs, maybe once or twice a year. So it's kind of like you play the songs and you're like, oh yeah, we should do this. And then you don't touch them for like 10 months. Kind of forget.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
But it happens.
Brush it off.
Yeah. We promise that before this band ends, we will release at least one Christmas song. We can make that commitment to you.
Not committing too much here.
We blow standards. Okay.
And if not, we have some live ones on YouTube.
True,
so
we do. You can listen to those.
That's another option.
Yeah. Okay, so this next year, we've kind of started to announce it, but we'll be releasing one song a month, and every song will correlate with a season of life. And so all the songs that are released will be written out of those specific seasons. So this next question has to do with that. It comes from Bridget. And she said, what inspired you to choose each season that your new songs are based on? Seasons like, essentially, they are opposites. So like good seasons and bad seasons. And we'll kind of unpack what those seasons are throughout the year. But what inspired us to choose the specific seasons is the question.
I think the idea came kind of naturally because we we're writing, all throughout the year. And since we've kind of entered the CCM realm, working with a record label, they've pushed us to write songs a lot and to always be writing. Because songwriting is kind of a muscle that you develop, and you come up with quicker ideas the more frequently you do it. So with that, I think naturally, wanting to be honest with our lyrics and wanting to write from our personal stories has been a passion of ours. And so looking back at a lot of the songs that we've written, it's kind of funny when you write a song, at least for me, I feel like sometimes you don't realize what necessarily you're writing about or what this emotion is that you're expressing. And then when you look back at it, you can kind of identify like, oh, that's because I was going through that in that season of my life. So I think when we look at these songs and still have ones that we're writing now and into this next year, it's kind of cool to identify the season of life that each song was written out of. And our hope, I think, is that as we identify those seasons of life, that they can help people who are going through that same kind of season.
This question kind of also has to do with that. It was asked by Katie, and it just says, what was the writing process like for every new song based on the specific seasons chosen for those new songs? And how does it differ from the writing process of Clarity, if there is a significant difference? And I think kind of, bringing in what Jeff talked about, it's like these songs were written out of a specific season. If we look back at the songs that we put on Clarity, like there is this overarching theme that the season was like, what is happening? We were needing clarity, which is why we ended up just calling it
that.
Yeah,
that
a lot of unknown.
Yeah, a lot of unknown. But as we started to look at this new batch of songs that we already had written, a lot of them correlated to specific seasons, and we could see like this song was written. For example, there was a song released early in the year that comes directly from a friend's story, and she was experiencing a specific season of life. But then the other cool thing is that like half of the songs aren't even written yet. And so there are, maybe one part, maybe the positive, I guess, if you want to call it, like the good season, we have a song written for that. But the correlating, like difficult season, we don't have a song yet. And so it's kind of a fun challenge to us as writers to say like, all right, we got to figure this out. We have to look internally and say, what was it like when I was walking through that season? And then 2, find people in our lives that are walking through those seasons and ask them to contribute to the story of the song and where it came from.
Yeah, I'd definitely say this project is more like directed. It has like kind of a specific direction.
Yeah.
Whereas the Clarity project was kind of a combination of a few years of songs.
Yeah.
But this, I think there will be a freshness to this record next year. Just knowing that they were written out of seasons that are very recent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be, I think, exciting for us to talk through those with you guys.
I even think something fun about it is that if we look at a specific season, like let's say a positive season of life, and let's just take the word joy, for example. What does it look like to have a joyous song? And like what music can match that? And so we're even kind of going through that process of some music doesn't match, some music does match, but just kind of feeling out each song and just seeing what goes best and what thought process for writing the song is best for that song. So
Chris asked a question. He wants to know where the Higher music video was filmed.
Anaheim, California.
no.
Oh, Higher.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I was thinking
of no other.
No other. My bad.
Our Higher music video was kind of like a day in the life of Southern California for all seasons.
Kind of all over.
Yeah. Some was in Orange County, some was in Los Angeles,
Long Beach.
Long Beach. We kind of had fun with that one. That was kind of crazy. For some of it, the guy, Jeff Vanags, who directed it, was like, hey, Jeff, come with me into the middle of the street. You're going to run down the street. And Jeff had to be like, okay, I'll do it.
Jeff
I got a
being
jaywalk walking ticket.
No, you didn't. Can you imagine if you did? I know I said I could see this far, but I can't.
what?
Dom, good to hear from you. We totally remember you from Dallas. TEC, I can't see what your actual name is, but we're so glad that we met you on the Jordan Fleece tour. What city? So we can give your city a shout out. Also, my dad texted me and he's watching, so he wants a shout out, a parent shout out. Shout out to you, Mike Berger.
Is Bob watching?
I hope.
I hope Bob's watching.
Love
you, Bob.
But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to submit them. We'll probably only go for another 5 or 10 minutes. But they can be questions about anything. Things we've experienced in 2018 so far, things next year. William, with the announcement of releasing one song each month next year, were you guys possibly planning on doing a tour?
Read that again. I'm sorry. I was talking to Jeff.
With the announcement of releasing one song each month, were you guys possibly planning on doing a tour?
We're going to do a tour once a month and just play that one song.
No, we're not. Can you imagine? We're just going to go from city to city and set up, play the one song,
Bye.
keep going. No, we're definitely talking about tour options this next year. Sorry, my dad said that my mom and my grandpa are watching. So
Bob!
But yeah, we are
Love
talking
me.
about some spring tour options and then hopefully some fall tour options. But we will keep you informed. We have bands in town, which essentially you sign up through your Facebook and then it will alert you when we're in your area. That is a great tool if you want to be alerted to when we're playing near you. Are we coming back to Medford?
I hope so.
I want to. Medford's beautiful. I guess,
Are you looking for
Huh?
information from us?
It's probably very cold right now.
yeah. I guess, Chris, we just need a good reason to come. So
Just give us a call.
give us a call. We'll
Show
be
us
there.
what to set up.
Number is 555.
No. I think we had one more question that we were going to touch on tonight. Okay. This is another question from Kayla. She wants to know, will we know the themes, as in you guys, will you guys know the themes of 2019 all at once? So that you guys can know what seasons to be looking forward to? Or are you only going to find out as they're released? Which this was a really good question and caused us to actually have an internal discussion about if we were going to tell people beforehand. And this is what we came up with. Because it's good. Because these seasons kind of come in pairs, we will announce the pairings as they come. So come the beginning of January, we will announce January and February. And then come the beginning of March, we'll announce March and April, and so forth and so on. If you're one of our Patreon users, which Kayla is, they will be finding out earlier than everybody else. So they can kind of be looking forward to it. But for the general public, it will kind of be, month of, you'll find out what the next 2 months are going to be. Hopefully that helps and gives you something to kind of look forward to. You saw us in Colorado, not sure where though. Was it in Grand Junction or Castle Rock? Would you mind giving my girlfriend Jessica a shout out?
Sup, Jess?
If you guys upload this, once it ends, I'll share it with her. Jessica, we're here wishing you a Merry Christmas. Johnny, sing our song.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Me.
Yeah. But Jessica, I'm singing that on behalf of your boyfriend
To you.
because that's what he wants for Christmas is you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I got another one.
Okay.
Go for it.
Who's that girl?
It's
Who's that
Jess.
girl?
It's Jess.
Well, we just got a text question. That wasn't even an option, but that's what happens when you're our friends. You have our numbers, and then you can just text us and ask us the questions instead of just in the video.
That is
555.
555.
Okay, 555. This comes from our friend Chris, and we'll wrap up with this one. What is the process of writing songs in difficult seasons and leading others in worship in those seasons? I've learned a lot from the book of Psalms, because I think early on as a worship leader, or not even a worship leader, being exposed to worship through music, it was easy to correlate like worship through music with like positive feelings. Because sometimes we can walk into a church and everything feels really upbeat and everybody's like really smiley. Not to say that that's disingenuous, but what happens is it ends up only being one side of the coin. Because the reality is that there's a lot of people that are walking through really difficult seasons. And it would be lying if the three of us like only wrote really positive, happy songs all the time, because life is not all, what's the expression?
Fun and games.
Or like cupcakes and
Rainbows. What is it?
Rainbows and butterflies. Rainbows and butterflies. I don't know where cupcakes are.
Unicorns.
Unicorns and rainbows.
I don't think you eat ever those.
Anyway. So going back to the Psalms. The Psalms are this like beautiful example of what worship should look like. It literally is like a songbook. But what's really interesting about the Psalms is that they are people's very honest confession of where they're at. And you read Psalms where the writer is like, I want my life to be over. Like, I feel attacked on all sides. God, I feel like you've forgotten me. It's just so honest. But in the end, the writer will always return to like, but God, I'm going to choose to remember who you are. And I think that is what God is asking of us when it comes to, at least for us, like writing music in difficult times, is like, I'm not going to pretend like it's not a reality. Instead, I'm going to ask myself the question, what is it that I need to remember about God in this season? And what should I focus on instead of focusing on my situation? And a lot of these songs that we'll write this year that come from difficult seasons are really just reminders to our own soul of who God is, and saying like, God, I'm going to choose to root myself in these things that are true about you instead of just only keeping my eyes fixed on my situation. And I think the same applies to when we're leading worship in difficult seasons, because we don't want to go on stage and be fake. That's the last thing. And the reality is that God can see through that. And Jeff, you've kind of talked about this, like God sees our heart, and we would never want to fake it because he would know if we're faking it. You can.
Yeah, I think just with that idea, I think it can be tempting to, just play the songs. And I think there's two sides to it. It's like the one side you have to be honest because you're talking to the God of the universe, who knows you inside and out. And so I think sometimes what helps me is just like literally trying to imagine that Jesus is in the room, and like, how does that affect, what my face is saying, like how my body's moving, like, how I'm interacting with the congregation or the crowd, and kind of letting everything flow through that filter of if Jesus is right there, like what am I doing? But there's also the other side of it where, we can have what we're personally going through, and there's a part of us that we need to set that aside, not completely, but to remember that as worship leaders, that not everyone is feeling the way that you're feeling right now. Mm-hmm. And that, there's beauty in the fact that you can be going through a really hard season and someone in the congregation can be going through a really great season, but God is still God. Mm-hmm. And he's the same, whether in both of those seasons. And so it's just, I guess doing it for, however many years now, we've kind of been forced to ask ourselves those questions kind of over and over again.
Yeah. And really, this is what birthed this whole idea for 2019 is like, God is still God in all of these different seasons. And so what does it look like worship him in those seasons. Like, what is the heart cry in those specific seasons of life? Gosh, I hope that we do that justice. Like, that's our prayer going into this next year, is that if you feel like you're walking through whatever the season is of the month, that the song that we're writing cannot just be like, you know, a way for you to sulk in your feelings. Like, that's not what we're interested in, but we're interested in offering like hope of like, this is what you can remember to be true about God. And this is how you can continue to worship him in this specific season, as difficult as it may be.
And I think there's something special too about sharing that together. Like, you know, how many times when someone shares what they're going through, it becomes a talking point. Like, it becomes a way for us to bond, like as human beings, just going through similar times of life, or, you know, experiencing emotions that maybe we're afraid to talk about or to mention. And that's one thing I really love about music, is that music provides such a great opportunity to process through things that are hard to talk about. Sometimes you can say things in a song, or, you know, provide an emotion that you can't quite put into words, or, you know, a simple sentence or a conversation. And so I'm excited to, I guess, put some of our processing on display, for, like Emily said, for the hope that it provides hope, that that we're welcoming people in to the things that we've gone through, in hopes that we can identify and share in that together, and work through what it looks like to be people that are trying to follow God.
Yeah. So hopefully that gives you some, I was going to say groundwork, but some idea of what this next year is going to be like. And hopefully it gets you excited for what we've got coming. A couple things. There's some more questions coming in. We're going to go ahead and wrap here because we don't want these videos to get super long. We're already about to push 30 minutes, but we're going to be doing this every month. So join us, keep your questions, and you can submit them. We've also got our Patreon that we just launched a couple weeks ago. These questions that were pre-submitted came from our patrons. If you're not sure what that is, I'll go ahead and leave a comment with a link to our Patreon so you can just learn more about it. But essentially, it's a way for people to support the creators that they love. And so if you have been impacted by our music and you would like to help us continue in what we're doing, then Patreon might be a great option for you. Also, I mentioned that I wanted to give some things away. So this is what we're going to do.
Raise your hand if you want something.
Raise your hand. We want to give away a couple signed CDs. So this is how you get entered to do that. If you can send us a message through YouTube, which you should be able to do because you clearly already have a YouTube login, just send us a message telling us a theme of a podcast or a topic of a podcast that you would want to hear from us. Just write it in a quick message, send it to us, and then we're going to choose a couple people to send a signed CD to. And then lastly,
Wait, when do they need to get that in?
Oh, by the end of tonight. So when we finish this video, because that'll show that you were watching it with us, just go ahead and send that message, and then we'll choose a couple people by the end of tonight. Lastly, we've got a new video that is going live as soon as this live stream is over. It is a Embrace the Space Christmas edition.
In the home.
Just that we filmed at my parents' house by the Christmas tree with my cat. So I hope you love it. Any last words, gentlemen?
The cat sucks.
No, he did attack.
Sick.
He attacked my arm, and I still kind of am scared of him.
There are
but
some cats that are great. This one is not.
he's so cute sometimes. Anyway, I could talk about cats forever.
We're thankful for you guys.
Oh, if you're wondering about a message button, all you need to do is just go to our 4L Seasons, like our YouTube page, and there's a message button. And that should be totally fine. So hopefully that helps you. But I'm going to move this closer so I can type in the Patreon thing. Hi.
Hi.
William, are you still having a hard time finding it? Let me see if I can help you. This is my typing face. William, maybe you're right. Why can't I find it?
Doing it back to back with the 1 day in between. That's a lot of hockey in 4 days.
Guys, I really should have thought of this or made sure that I could do this. At the top, there should be. Oh. You know what? Let's do this. Leave a comment on our new Christmas video that we're about to upload with what idea you want for a podcast. And that will be your submission to win a CD. Does that sound good? I just need one person to tell me that that sounds good. William, thank you. All right, well, I think literally one person just showed up, but we're about to sign off. You can go back. This will be available to watch. We'll see you next month.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the fact that you would.
Yeah, follow us on our social media. We've got lots of stuff coming out. In fact, by the next time we do another one of these, song number 1 will already be released.
And I won't be sick.
And Johnny won't be sick.
This is great.
All right. We love you all. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye.